Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's some kind of algorithm or if that's just some kind of BS where someone in particular has it out for you and is just like reporting you for ridiculous stuff, you know? Yeah. All right, welcome guys. This is DDP with the Dallas Prospect here to talk a little bit of Cowboys Eagles, and I am joined, of course, by Big Game James of Silver and Blue Nation. James, how you doing, man? James? Oh, don't tell me the setting did that again. I don't hear James. Interesting. Okay. Well, while I try and figure out what happened there, we're going to be talking a little bit of Cowboys-Eagles tonight, and we're going to be specifically talking about the matchup and what to expect as the Philadelphia Eagles 6-6 come to the Cowboys. And if Dallas wins this game, they actually have a chance to really take hold of the division, take a 3-game lead in the division, in fact, if they can manage to win with just 3 games to play. Needless to say, that is a significant advantage. Dallas would have to lose out. Philadelphia would have to win out at that point to get it. So Dallas can effectively get a stranglehold of this division right now, which is a phenomenal advantage when you think about it. Now, you might think that the Saints game might have a letdown after it, right? And if this was maybe the Tampa Bay or Indianapolis game, I would probably agree with you. The difference here is that this isn't any of those games. This is pure and simple by itself. This is a division game. This is already going to have some added heat to it. Man, I think computer's lagging here. Let's see. Oh, there's the animation. So this is a division game. There's already some added heat here to this rivalry. And then you factor in things like the division being on the line. Philadelphia, you can put them away right now with a win. Now, there are still favorable situations in which you can still win the division without winning Sunday. But it's really best to just take care of business now, because if you don't, then you're putting yourself into a corner where you're just leaving the door open for a team. And at that point, Philadelphia will have won 3 straight games. They will have somewhat galvanized their roster. Because one thing last year with Philadelphia, last year Philadelphia was a really hot team. They built up a bunch of momentum throughout the season, and they were able to build on that. They don't really have that one great win this year. The last 2 weeks, they beat up on a Giants team that has, I think, 4 wins at this point, and a Redskins team that is literally the walking wounded and is down at this point to now Mark Sanchez, who was signed 2 weeks ago, just to fill out just to have a starting quarterback on this team. I mean, they are a train wreck at this point. There is nothing of hope for the Redskins. Despite a 6-3 start, they are done. And now Dallas is down to just Philadelphia. So, okay, great. We beat Philly in Philly. And again, you win tomorrow, or I keep saying tomorrow. You win Sunday, you have a chance to grab a 3-game lead with 3 games to play. That cannot be underspoken enough. And then you have guys on Philadelphia running their mouth for reasons unknown. Let's see here. Kenneth Haynes, first in the chat. What up? Brett Bender, what up? Electric Chicken, what's good? D-Town, Texas G, what's up? Tavion Wallace, what's good, guys? Let's see here. We got some talk of the show. And I think I see now what happened in that scenario. So I'm going to see if I can get James back on the show here for us. And we will roll that way if we can. This season was effectively saved. Occurred just last time they played Philadelphia. They had just come off of the Titans loss where they lost 28-14. Everything looked to be downhill for the team. Then you add in the fact that, oh man, did OBS just crash? Let's see, am I still alive? Holy crap. Guys in the comments, let me know if you can actually still hear me. I think OBS has locked up on me, but you might be able to hear me, if not see me, or if I'm lagging. Let me know. As Law would say, Murphy's Law has clearly completely taken my show by the horns here early on. So let me know if you can see me, hear me, and all that. Let's see. I'm looking at the stream now. Looks like I'm locked up. Let's see. Man. I think OBS is about to crash on me. Awesome. Let's see. Oh, you guys can hear me. Okay, interesting. Let me see if I can address something here. Cool. Well, if you guys can hear me, I'll keep talking. Hopefully the stream and everything keeps rolling. It looks to me, yeah, I'm not moving. Okay. Here. No, not that. Here. I will shut off the camera, throw that onto the main, and we will try and roll this way for the moment. All right. All right, it looks like I might be back in control now. All right, I think we're good. I think we weathered the storm. What's good, guys? Sorry about that delay. As Law would say, Murphy's Law has interjected into the show once again. I will try and get James back on the line. Obviously, as I was saying before, the Cowboys have a lot on the line here for this, but I feel like the fact that Philadelphia, one, can't stop running its mouth. I had to look this up. The guy who was running his mouth the other day, I had not heard the guy's name before, and I was very interested to actually see what he had to say. Now, this was the quote that was shared everywhere because you have the Eagles linebacker drafted in 2016 basically talking about how, oh, well, look at their history. They always choke. They, in this case, being the Cowboys. They always choke. So we're going to go down there and make them choke. Interesting statement. Interesting statement. Let's see. It was Camus Geyer Hill? Let's just say Hill. Let's just say Hill. My question to Hill. Who are you? You've been in the league since 2016. I looked it up. You still got fewer tackles in 2.5 seasons than Leighton Vander Esch has in this season. Leighton Vander Esch has played 12 games. He has started 7 games. He has more tackles than you. Who in the blue hell are you to be running your mouth? Seriously, do you think we need bulletin board material? Like, your best hope was that we came in off of that Saints win feeling high and mighty, and that we wouldn't be really that worried about you, that you could sneak in and punch us in the mouth before we knew what was happening and take advantage. You running your mouth, though, that's the opposite. That's you completely blowing any secret that you had, any chance of catching us off guard that you had, and instead settling for the ass whooping you're gonna get, because that's what's gonna happen. At this point, Dallas isn't sleeping on you. They know about you in particular, and it's going to be great. In fact, I looked it up even more. You dropped a crucial interception opportunity the last time we played. Credit to you for being, I guess, around the ball, but at the same time, when the chips were down, you didn't make a play. So are you trying to convince yourself you can win, or are you trying to convince us you can win? Because I feel like you're trying to convince yourself. It's amazing to me how you have these teams coming in here. I mean, division rival or not, their mentality is, I'm going to talk smack and try and get under their skin. Man, we were talking smack before the Saints game, and we backed it up. It's not smack if you back it up. That's just telling them flat out, man to a man, what you're going to do. So if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, why do you think you benefit from this? I mean, you're always going to get the more politically correct answer from Dak Prescott when he addressed the media today. His answer was, winners think about winning, losers think about winners. Fair point, fair statement. Certainly can't really point any flaw to that logic. I mean, you're never going to get Dak going out there like, oh, well, we're going to beat their ass. That's not how quarterbacks operate. That's not how they talk. Quarterbacks might as well be a stone's throw from PR people, honestly. But all the same, you got Dak Prescott coming out there talking about it. And I see in the comments here, Tavion talking about how he's trying to pull a DeMarcus Lawrence. The difference in a DeMarcus Lawrence, yeah, I mean, both use the phrase choke or choke them out effectively. But the difference in what DeMarcus Lawrence said, DeMarcus Lawrence, when he talked about the Saints, if you looked at the full quote and not just the snippet that everyone focused on, he specifically talked about how the Saints were, if you look at the numbers, the best team in the league, how they were this elite machine. That said, and then he went into the quote, how if you attack them, they're a team used to scoring 50 points a game. If you attack them, if you punch them in the mouth, and you don't let them play their style of game, you slow things down, you punch them in the mouth over and over again. When they're not scoring 50, you're going to make them a little bit distressed. And when they're distressed, they're not executing. That's all what DeMarcus Lawrence was saying. And that's what proved to fruition in that case. Now, again, he starts that off by complimenting them and then explaining how, yeah, we understand that, but we're still going to go out there and try and punch them in the mouth because we think we can do it. The difference in this case is the Eagles linebacker not showing any kind of respect toward Dallas. What did he say? Oh, you look at their history, they always choke. So we're going to go down there and we're going to make them choke. You look at our history. Our history, you say. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that you're the defending Super Bowl champions. But what role did you have in that? I mean, what role did you have in that Super Bowl title, first of all? Okay, moving on. What has your franchise done beyond last year? Not much, you say. Okay, interesting. So you're coming into the house of the 5-time Super Bowl champions, and you're running your mouth thinking that you're going to punk us? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Eagles can't beat the Cowboys. I'm not trying to suggest that this is a one-up, and this is a done deal. Dallas has everything locked up. I'm not trying to say that at all. Dallas has to go in and take care of business. But if I'm Philadelphia, the last thing I think to do is poke the bear. Dallas has already shown itself to be a monster defense. That's the difference in what the Saints are. The Saints have a good defense, but they're led by their offense. You punched their offense in the mouth, and you did just enough to get by them 13-10. If you're the Eagles, you know Dallas is built around its defense. So why, an offense, the way an offense runs, when an offense is efficient, most offenses, it's like classical music, right? It's poetry and emotion. It's things operating smoothly, efficiently. Now, you could say, hey, we're a smash-mouth running football team, and for us, that is more so the case. But if you look around some of the league today and you see these high-powered offenses, that's what you see. You see teams that are more in that regard, as opposed to defenses, which is like heavy metal music, just punch you in the mouth, leave you bleeding on the floor. That's what defenses do. So why would you speak to the defense knowing the wrath that you're going to bring upon yourself? I mean, it's baffling to me for sure. Dak has been undefeated against the Giants since his rookie season. He's only lost to the Eagles one time. Yeah. No, they lost twice last year to Philadelphia. Yeah, Dak lost twice last year to him. What up, Teflon Breed? What's good? Brett Bender, assuming everything plays out in favor of probability, we win and we clinch the division. If Dallas wins Sunday, they take a 3-game lead in the division with 3 to play. That is a monumental advantage. That is saying, hey, Dallas, you have to find a way to lose all 3 games and all 3 remaining games, and then Philadelphia has to win all 3 remaining games to force you out. I don't think this Dallas team is going to let that happen personally. But if we get to that point, we get to that point. I just don't think we do. I think this Dallas team is damn near ironclad. I'm going to try and get James on the line here real quick as I'm multitasking. My computer had a little hiccup earlier. Somehow stayed live streaming, so I kept talking. And I'm trying to get everything set back up now as it was earlier. Because Sanchez may win 1 game, and if the Eagles lose to the Rams, we can lose 2 of our last 3. True. But Mark Sanchez was signed 2 weeks ago. So personally, I don't put much stock in the notion that he's going to win anything for Washington. But, crazier things have happened, I suppose. We beat them last year on the last game. That's conversation in lining. Yeah. Yes, we did. We did win the Week 17 matchup last year to move to 9-7. All right, well, connection's not working. I'm not going to be able to get James on the line. So Dallas, from the time that they were 3-5, that loss to Tennessee, their season looked like it might be over. And the thing they had to turn to was they had to not only win their first game on the road, they had to find a way to string multiple wins together. Not just 2 in a row, which would have also been a first, but 3 or 4 or what have you. And they hadn't shown to that point in the season they could do it all year, but the team never lost confidence. If you talk to the players, they continually told you, we're not that far away. We're just not winning right now. Which, if you look at that from a fan base standpoint or the media, you say, that sounds like hogwash. That sounds like you're selling me a fake bill of goods. What do you mean you're just not winning now? Winning is the only thing that matters in this case. They said, no. We're figuring things out. We're not winning yet, but we're figuring things out. Don't panic. Now, it took Amari Cooper to change that equation, but damned if they weren't right, because the first game with Cooper, yeah, they lose 28-14. It's the worst game the defense has played all year. I believe Dallas is the only team this season not to allow at least 30 points in a game, which is pretty incredible. Tennessee is the closest with 28. But Dallas has been, I think, in fact, if you wanted to go to the last time Dallas gave up 30 points, you'd have to go to Philadelphia in Dallas last year, which means mid-season, not the finale. That's pretty incredible. But I digress. The Cowboys have been stellar defensively, and now they have a chance to grab a 3-game lead. Dak Prescott has been significantly better since getting Amari Cooper. Cooper was there the last time they faced Philadelphia when they started to right the ship. They won their first road game. Then they won the next week at Atlanta. Now they're riding on a 4-game streak, and things look like they're better for Dallas. Now, I forget who mentioned it in the comments, but to the point of the person mentioning Dallas winning out and the potential for being on an 8-game win streak going into the playoffs. That's possible. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But, again, if you beat Philadelphia, I pointed this out when I talked about the New Orleans game the previous week. I said, if you can beat New Orleans, this has the potential to be a galvanizing moment for your roster. Just like 2009 when the Cowboys beat the Saints, that turned around the entire vibe of the season. Suddenly that team, who I think at the time was 7-5 going into that game, it changed things around because suddenly they got confident. They started feeling like, we just beat a 13-0 New Orleans team, 2009. We can beat anybody. And they weren't entirely wrong. You know, that's a team that ends up going on a run, finishing 11-5. They win a playoff game. And unfortunately, they get their teeth kicked in by the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota with Brett Favre and Adrian Peterson. But I said going into this New Orleans game this past week, this could be that moment again. And I actually predicted the Cowboys to win that game not because of that. I laid out my reasons, but I said this could mirror that 2009 season, and I think it is. And I think after that win, this Cowboys team now knows, hey, defensively, we've largely figured this out. We've known all year we've been a pretty good defense. Now we've seen we can literally go against the best defense in the league, and we can punch their teeth down their throat. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do that we can't stop. That's what Dallas saw. And that's how it played out. So now Philadelphia coming in here with its banged up secondary. I watched the Redskins-Eagles game last week. I didn't see anything I should be afraid of. I really, really didn't. Now, any given Sunday, that whole thing. But at the same time, Philly beats you, you're both 7-6, and you got a share of the division lead. But even then, Dallas retains I think, better than 50% chance to make the playoffs according to all the simulations from the NFL and ESPN. So that's interesting, but I don't care about simulations, man. Give me the actual game. Give me the moment itself. Give me a Dallas win. I don't just want Dallas to win. I want them to destroy. I want a statement win. I want Dallas to come out there and punch Philadelphia in the mouth until they stop getting up. Because that is what this team needs. Let me see here. Let me see. Hit that. See if that even plays. And my drops are lagging too. Fantastic. All right, so throw that out. I'm sure that'll play in like 5 minutes anyway. Let's see here. Comments. Brett Bender. I predicted 10-6 at the beginning of the year. So did I. Now, granted, how we're going to get there is not how I projected. And potentially they could even go 11-5 at this point if they won out. But I did predict 10-6 before the season with the Sports Fury. That's on the channel if you want to check that out. Let's see. He's been undefeated since the 2 losses with the Giants. Joe Thomas didn't play last week. Yeah, Joe Thomas did not. I like Joe Thomas a lot. They need to incorporate him a little more. But linebacker is definitely full up. Let's actually talk. Let's take a minute to talk about my if you haven't read it yet, my latest article came out on Dallas Sports Fanatic, and it talked about specifically Sean Lee coming back. Now, it sounds like he might not be back this week, but Jerry Jones going on 105.3 The Fan, the flagship station of the Cowboys, and saying, when Sean Lee is fully healthy, he will resume his starting job because there is no one on this defense better than him. I wrote about that for Dallas Sports Fanatic, and yeah, if it's coming from the owner, then obviously you have to take that as pretty concrete. Sean Lee is going to get his starting job back when he returns to this roster. And if that's the case, fine. But there are ways around that, right? It's not like when Dak supplanted Romo for the starting quarterback job, because that you got one quarterback. You don't switch quarterbacks every X amount of plays. You don't mix them up. You don't have more than one on the field at one time. It is what it is. You got your guy, and he runs the offense, and he runs the game plan, and week in, week out, that's how it is. Linebacker is different. Linebacker, you can mix it up a little bit more. I personally view this as, hey, Sean Lee might be my starter, but that doesn't mean I can't put him on some kind of pitch count. If he's on a pitch count, that means maybe I play Lee 25 to 35 snaps a game, and even though he and LVE are both kind of that will linebacker spot, maybe I'm still rolling LVE out there for all those other snaps. And you might get 60 snaps in a game. LVE might be playing the rest of those. He might even be playing the lion's share of snaps. That's not to say that in certain packages you can't roll Sean Lee out there and still get productivity out of him. I don't doubt when he's healthy, Sean Lee is a phenomenal linebacker. But I also don't rule out the fact that Sean Lee is 32 years old, has never played a 16-game season in his career. If you wanted to amend it, you would say 2016. He was healthy and eligible to play in the season finale, but Dallas intentionally held him out because of his history with injuries and to try and keep him fresh for the playoffs. But you can look at that still all the same and say, hey, you've never played a 16-game season. You're 32 years old. You're slated to make $7 million next year. We put you in bubble wrap all preseason, and you came into the start of the season playing straight terrible because you weren't used to hitting and tackling and wrapping up. So you got embarrassed against the Panthers, and it took you a few weeks to kind of figure things out a little bit and get back to the Sean Lee we knew. And then right as you got to that Sean Lee, you pulled your hamstring and you were out a few weeks, and then you came back and you were back for about a game and a half, and then you pulled your hamstring again. And all in that meantime, Leighton Vander Esch, the guy that we drafted at number 19 to be not only your insurance policy, but your eventual replacement, has done nothing but shine. Leighton Vander Esch is a beast. He is the Wolf Hunter, and as he has shown rolling out his merch line this week, he has fully embraced the Wolf Hunter persona. Leighton Vander Esch is absolutely, positively a monster at linebacker, and he is the future of this. He has the potential to be an all-pro. If you hear Troy Aikman, he has the potential to be an all-time great. And that is saying something. Sean Lee is great. He might be a little better, if totally healthy, than Vander Esch right now. But here's how I view it. You couldn't have anticipated when you drafted Vander Esch he would be better than Sean Lee right now. And I don't know necessarily that he is. But that Vander Esch would be this good, this fast. You couldn't have anticipated that. But Sean Lee is slated to make $7 million next year. He's 32 years old. He's never played a 16-game season in his career. He has missed 7 games out of 12 this season alone. He might miss this week. You have to consider, do you cut Sean Lee in the offseason to save that money and spend it elsewhere? Because you got guys to re-sign. You got DeMarcus Lawrence. You got Byron Jones. You're eventually going to have to figure out what to do about Dak and Zeke. Dak and Amari Cooper specifically have been said by Jerry Jones to be slated for big extensions this offseason. If you got $7 million you got to save, What do? Cole Beasley's another guy you got to consider. Now, Cole Beasley, I would think, is a little more wiggle room as far as ability to replace, but that's not to say he's not a fantastic player. Dallas has some questions to figure out. They got some stuff to figure out, and you could save some money by cutting Sean Lee, or make him take a pay cut. When he's healthy, I don't doubt his ability. The problem is keeping him healthy. And they showed no matter what they do, they cannot fully protect Sean Lee and protect him from himself. That being the case, they got to be open to it. They got to consider it. So we could find ourselves in a situation where LVE takes over for Sean Lee this offseason. And I'd hate to see Sean Lee go, but at the same time, you can't rely on him. He's too in and out of the lineup. You gotta work with what you got here. And if you're telling me I got a first round pick making what, $2-3 million compared to Lee making $7.5 million, I think, a season right now, you don't want to pay Sean Lee based on his past accolades when he's no longer able to produce in that way. Now, no disrespect to Lee. At Washington, when Dallas needed that last possession to what should have won the game, he pretty much single-handedly made that happen. When Dallas forced a quick punt from Washington, that was pretty much Sean Lee by himself. That was phenomenal. But you don't get that Sean Lee often enough anymore. The last game Sean Lee played was at Philadelphia. So it's interesting whether he plays this week or not that this is the game again, because here we are 5 weeks later, Cowboys on a 4-game win streak. And whereas last year and years past, not 2014. 2014, they never had Sean Lee and they still won 12 games. But years past, for the most part, if Sean Lee was out, this defense was trash. That's not the case anymore because Jalen Smith arrived. And Leighton Vander Esch, I was wrong. I admit I was wrong about not being psyched about the pick for LVE. I had concerns about a couple things, most notably reports about his neck. Kid can play. Kid looks like a modern day Brian Urlacher out there. He gets hands on you, it's pretty much over. He's got over 100 tackles already on the season, 12 games in with only 7 starts. He leads the league, I believe, in solo tackles. If he doesn't lead the league, he's second. And the guy who would have passed him is like 145 snaps more than him. You cannot undersell or understate how damn good LVE has been. So that's why the fan base is distressed. Why do you send him back to the bench? Well, again, it's not like quarterback. It's not like it's a one or the other. You can mix up packages. You can mix up snaps. I think LVE is still going to get plenty of action. Now, is it a reduction? Yes. And for that reason, fans might be frustrated. But if he's healthy, Sean Lee can give you something. And you're not going to cut Sean Lee in the middle of the season. So you might as well try and squeeze that stone and try and get every drop of blood out of it you can. And if Lee can't go after this year, or if his body breaks down again, let's say he's back a week or two and pulls his hamstring or something again, okay, then at that point you consider shutting him down and you stick with Leighton Vander Esch. But if you can bring Lee back in and he can actually play 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row, which he hasn't done yet this year, then you have you have fantastic depth at your linebacker at that point. You have another solid playmaker. And Lee is a quarterback of the defense. As good as LVE and Jalen Smith have been, Sean Lee has all the instinct in the world. Jalen Smith has all the athleticism in the world. Their sideline-to-sideline speed in Dallas is unreal. LVE is kind of a mix of the two. He's got some athleticism, and he's got more size and speed and strength than Lee. but he's also got some pretty good instincts for his own right. They may not be right now Sean Lee level instincts, but they're nothing to sneeze at. So for this matchup, I tend to think Philadelphia's secondary is still trash. Their defensive front's pretty good, but it's banged up. Carson Wentz is problematic. They've started to figure out Golden Tate a little bit. He caught a touchdown and a 2-point conversion against the Redskins this past week. Zach Ertz I think he had 13 catches against Dallas in Philadelphia, or 14 catches, something crazy like that. He is the one weapon that Philadelphia possesses that I do wonder, okay, how does Dallas counter that? Previous seasons, we would have matched up Byron Jones, and he would have done okay, but not great against tight ends. And now you got to figure out, okay, how are you going to slow him down? How are you going to stop him? How are you going to keep him from killing you? That's something Dallas is going to have to figure out. But in the meantime, Dallas does have a loaded defense that can win. They can help an offense. If they can help the offense win 13-10 against the best offense in the league, they can hold down the Philadelphia Eagles, especially if the Eagles are stupid enough to run their mouth and figuratively slap Dallas in the face before the matchup even comes about. Like I said, if you're Philly, your best chance was to sneak up on us, to catch us unaware. You running your mouth, flapping your gums, all you did was poke the bear. Like, it's a rivalry game. We didn't need much extra motivation. But now it's not even just motivation for this week, right? It's not even just, hey, we want to beat you here. It's not like you saying, yeah, they're a good team, but you know what? We're better, and we're going to prove that. Okay, maybe I'm motivated for this week for you saying that. No, you said we were going to choke, that we were going to fade. Okay, you're implying even after this game, we still have the propensity or the ability and likeliness to choke or fade when we face Tampa Bay, when we face Indianapolis, when we face New York to close out the season. Nah, bro. Nah. Because now that you ran your mouth, now that you put that in my head, now I'm motivated to prove you wrong. Now I'm motivated to strike back. It's amazing to me how they would do that. Deion Sanders, I wonder how Kayvon Frazier would look guarding Ertz. Kayvon Frazier is not good in coverage, so I would not like that at all. Kayvon Frazier basically plays up around the line of scrimmage like Cam Chancellor for the Seahawks used to do. He would play up around the line of scrimmage more like basically an additional linebacker. Great at hitting, not good when you drop him back into coverage. I think Ertz would abuse the hell out of him, personally. I think the plan was to use LVE to help keep Lee healthy. Now they want to use Lee to keep LVE healthy. Man, if that's the philosophy, again, if I'm Dallas, I put Sean Lee on a pitch count, and I effectively start playing him only in certain packages, because you got to preserve Sean Lee. Sean Lee's the guy that's made of fine china that you got to wrap up in 72 layers of bubble wrap to hope that he can play 4 games. And LVE, he's had some nick-ups, some bruises and whatnot in the last few weeks, but he's continued to play phenomenal. He had 10 tackles against New Orleans. The dude is a tackling machine. He's Bobby Boucher out there. Tackling you. That's what he thrives on. So if Dallas can get the most out of Leighton Vander Esch, if they can take care of business, they are in a very, very good situation because they effectively can clinch the division, not mathematically, but more or less clinch the division with the win Sunday at 3:25 against the visiting Philadelphia Eagles. And really, I mean, what more can you want if you're Dallas? Now, you don't want to take your foot off the gas. You don't want to say, hey, all right, we've essentially got the division now. Let's not worry so much about Indianapolis or Tampa Bay or New York. I'm not saying that at all. I think this team will continue to build on what it's done. I don't know that they win out, but I do think that they go 10-6. And if they can go 10-6, then you have, one, you're going to win the division, but you're going to get a home playoff game. They could potentially move all the way up to number 3 because Chicago plays the Rams this week, and if Dallas beats Philadelphia, they'll move up to 3, which is insane to think about. They can move as high as number 3 in the NFC. And man, oh man, a home playoff game would mean so much to this team. I think this team can win most anywhere. I don't love the idea of having to go to New Orleans potentially, but I think you could go if you had to Los Angeles or somewhere like that to get it done. But we'll see, man. I don't want to put the cart too far in front of the horse. It's going to be a smash mouth game against Philadelphia on Sunday because that's what it always is. But you know what? I think Dallas pulls away late. I think the defense is smothering. And I think that they're going to take Philadelphia and they're effectively going to grind the game into the ground. It's going to feel like 2016. They're going to have these long drives and possessions. They're going to play keep away with the ball. And the defense is just going to beat the ever-living hell out of you until you can't answer the 10 count. And I think I got Dallas. I don't want to throw out a score. Or do I? You know what? I do want to throw out a score. I got Dallas 27-13. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. We'll see. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. But this is going to be an interesting game for sure, man. This feels like a last gasp for the Eagles. Eagles were number 1, I believe, in the league last year in turnover margin. This year they have 9 turnovers through 12 games this year. If they're not last, they're like second to last. The Eagles are abysmal this year at getting turnovers, and as a result, I think it's going to bite them in the ass. I don't think that they can take the ball away from us consistently. And when Dallas wins the turnover battle, when Dak Prescott particularly doesn't have a turnover, he's 24-1 as a starter. So unless you can make him make a mistake, you're screwed. Statistically. But let me see. You guys got any questions? Hit me with a couple questions here. I'm going to go into the wrap-up of this show here real quick. Again, I'm sorry this was a little bit of a disjointed show. I know my stream has been a little bit laggy. I tried to have James on, and it just wasn't working out connection-wise. My computer completely failed me on this one, so I'm just working with what I can work with. Let me see. Dallas 27-13. What's up, guitar slinging zombie killer? Electric Chicken 3410. I like it. I like it. Let me see here. I'm going to pull up the stream actually on my phone just so I can see what the comments are. Oh, yeah, you guys have been talking. Good. Let's see. Stevie Mac 23, biggest key to stopping Zach Ertz. We have a problem stopping tight ends, but we have Joe Thomas back this time, so that might help out. Good. Giants trying to go 8-8, says Tavion. I would love the Giants to go 8-8 because all they're doing is screwing up their draft pick. The hell are you playing for? I would love it if they went 8-8 because then they would be dumb enough to think, hey, Eli might have another year or two. Yeah, we can wait. Stupid. All you're doing is screwing up your own draft pick. Why? For what? There's nothing to gain. You're out of the playoff picture. Just pipe down, man. If Sean Lee is still out, Joe Thomas will get playing time. Played a decent amount of snaps and coverage last week. His first game back from injury. That's good. I like Joe Thomas a lot. I really, really do. I also like like I said, when Sean Lee's healthy, I love what he can bring. Linebacker is a complicated spot for us because you only got so many snaps to go around. But Joe Thomas can certainly offer a lot in there, and he has shown significant value. Been one of our better free agent pickups, I feel, in recent years. Was he a free agent? He was a free agent. I don't think he was a trade from Green Bay. I think that was just his last team. Could you see us screwing up and losing to a team like the Colts or the Bucks? Asks Brett Bender. Could I see us? Well, here's the thing. Indianapolis is actually sneaky good. They're better than a lot of teams are giving them credit for. A better offense for sure. You got to go to their place, and it's an AFC opponent very late in the season. I would say that's my trap game. I would. Tampa Bay is at least still an NFC opponent, and they can put up offensively. They can put up points and yards. Their problem is finishing drives, and their defense isn't good. So in their case, I would say potential trap game, but I think maybe the implications of that loss would weigh more, and so I think the team would be a little more prepared for it. So I would lean towards Dallas. If they're going to slip up in one of those games, I would lean towards saying it's likely the Indianapolis game instead. Yep, DDP, this is the team we need to choke out. Absolutely. Let's see. LV is also staying healthy. LV is a beast. Hopefully Sean Lee retires. If Sean Lee does retire, I would love to have him on the coaching staff as like a linebacker coach. I think he has a lot to offer. That brain of his, such a high football IQ. It's really impressive. His problem, I think the thing that ultimately kept him from being a Hall of Famer is his health. So many soft tissue injuries, and again, I talked about this in the article. So many soft tissue injuries and ligament and tendon injuries and concussions throughout his career. His body just could never hold up to the physical demand of football, and that kept him from being a Hall of Famer, I think. He might end up eventually in the Cowboys Ring of Honor, especially if he comes in as a linebacker coach maybe. And he could eventually move his way to potentially as high as a defensive coordinator one day. But that, who knows if, when, and where that happens. But in the meantime, you just kind of focus on what you got. And I think what you got is a very bright football mind you'd like to keep around the team. Your feed really cleaned up. Maybe you can get Big Game James in here. Like, I tried bringing James on like several times. Something's up with my PC. I don't know what it is. I've been trying to sort it out the last couple days. There's some kind of technical issue with my PC that is just completely killing the RAM or something. So I tried bringing him on several times, and it wasn't even like placing the connection outward to him. So I'm gonna have to catch up with James another time, but maybe I can. If nothing else, I'll try and jump on Sunday to his post-game show for Silver and Blue Nation. Put Lewis on Ertz. He does best when punching above his weight. That's a lot to ask because Jordan Lewis is a small cornerback. So asking him to go against their big tight end and a pass-catching threat like that is a lot to ask. It's more than asking him to deal with Kamara against the Saints, honestly. Philly's back against the wall. We got to finish off the birds. Cry, Beagles, cry. Dig it. Dallas 48-7 says V kills it for the win. I dig it. Kelvin Benjamin apparently signing with the Chiefs. Yep. I didn't even put any stock in that. I never considered Dallas potentially looking for him. Sean Lee for president 2036. Nice. I never put any stock in Dallas looking at Kelvin Benjamin after he got cut. Every time Garrett goes to the podium, he has the same temperament and mindset. He stays consistent of what he wants to do with Dallas, and that's a positive thing towards the team, says Santana Louie. Consistency is a good message. My problems with Garrett are numerous and go beyond his temperament with the media. But, at this point with Dallas on a 4-game win streak, and especially if they get to the playoffs and somehow win a playoff game, I think more than likely we're going to have Garrett for another extension. He's going to get an extension, and we're going to have him for a while longer. We're going to have to deal with that when that happens. In the meantime, I can only put my hopes and prayer and positive energy into, hey, let's go get a bright offensive mind to fix the offense. And, for the defensive coordinator, let's promote Chris Richard, the defensive coordinator, so we don't lose him, because somebody's going to come calling for him, if not for a head coaching job, then at least defensive coordinator. Let's at least promote him up to that and move Rod Marinelli to some kind of assistant position, kind of like how we moved Monty Kiffin briefly to some kind of middle, more assistant role or something like that, contributor role, before he eventually ushered off to complete retirement. Should we just ask for a 4th-round pick for Sean Lee? I don't think we're going to get anything like that at this point for Sean Lee, a 4th-round pick with, dude, if he doesn't play this week, he's already missed 7 games. If he doesn't play this week, he'll have missed half the year at age 32 for soft tissue injuries. Like, he can't stay healthy. Everyone has seen us try and wrap him in bubble wrap. There's no way we get a 4th-rounder for him. That's the sad truth of it. I can't imagine anyone doing it, and we're beyond the trade deadline anyway, so it'd have to be an off-season move. Telling you Lewis plays good against tight end. Well, I'd like to see it if that's the case, for sure. I love Lewis, and I'd love to see him get on the field more than 8 snaps like he did against New Orleans. So that's going to wrap up my time for this show, guys. Again, sorry for the technical issues. I promise I'm trying to figure it out. Hang tight. I will go live, if not Sunday evening, because it's an afternoon game. If not Sunday evening, I will go live Monday night to talk post-game, tell you what happened in Cowboys versus Eagles, give you my thoughts, give you my analysis, and we'll go from there, man. But we got a lot to look forward to. This team is red hot right now. Hottest team in the NFL other than the Houston Texans. And there's a lot to build on. There's a lot to look forward to. And, man, 5 weeks ago, was that the case at all? No, it wasn't. So hang tight. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe if you haven't already. Here, let me run that animation one more time just for good measure. Let me see here. Like us on Facebook. And there it is. Like this video. Subscribe on YouTube. Ring the notification bell. Do all that good jazz. Oh, hey. I don't have any fancy graphics on screen for this. As of today, if you are interested in Dallas Prospect merch, as of today, we have launched our online merch store with represent.com. So go to represent.com/store/the-Dallas-Prospect, and you will have a lineup of Dallas Prospect shirts there, all original designs and everything like that. So keep an eye if you want to get that. That is a good way to support Dallas Prospect and get some cool merch as well. I know I've already got a couple orders in for that, so let's grow this thing, as Law would say. But in the meantime, guys, remember, every legend was once a prospect. Let me say that without my intro music overlaying my voice. Every legend was once a prospect. Salute.